The royal family posed for one final portrait. No one in the room knew the painter was documenting a bloodline already marked for death. The children smiled. The king stood tall, and hidden behind a velvet curtain, a man held a list of every name that needed to disappear. The first murder looked like an accident. A carriage lost control on a rain-soaked road. The horses screamed. The wheels shattered. Inside, a young prince breathed his last before the mud settled on his lips. The kingdom mourned, but no one questioned why the carriage driver vanished before dawn. 8 months later, the second child fell ill. The palace physicians called it fever. The royal cook called it poison. He was silenced the next morning. His body was found floating in the river, his hands still clutching a silver spoon. The palace declared it suicide. The court moved on. But the bloodline was bleeding. By year 3, only the king and his youngest daughter remained. She was 12 years old. She painted flowers in the garden while assassins sharpened knives in the stable. The king knew. He could feel the noose tightening around his throne. But he could not name his enemy. Every advisor smiled. Every guard saluted. And every night, someone turned the lock on his chamber door from the outside. The betrayal came from inside the bloodline itself. A cousin. A man who shared the same grandfather, the same last name, and the same hunger for power. He had been waiting for 20 years. He attended every wedding. He held every newborn. He whispered prayers at every funeral. And all the while he was counting bodies. The youngest daughter was taken on her 13th birthday. Not by strangers, by her own uncle. He dressed her in white, placed a crown of wilted roses on her head, and walked her into a tower that had no staircase. The last witness heard her ask, "Are we going to see father?" The uncle said yes. He was not lying. The king was already dead. The king died alone in his study. A single wound to the back of the skull. No blood on the carpet. No weapon at the scene. The royal physician wrote natural causes on the death certificate. He was paid in gold coins minted the same week. The coins still bear the face of the dead king. The physician's grave has no name. The cousin declared himself the new head of the bloodline. He held a ceremony. He invited the nobles. He burned incense and spoke of legacy. But the old king's loyal servants knew the truth. They smuggled a single document out of the palace. A list of 9 names. Every single one was dead within 3 years. Every single one was murdered twice. Once in the flesh. Once in the records. The bloodline that was murdered twice left no trace.
No tombstone. No portrait.
No mention in the history books. The cousin rewrote everything. He hired scholars to erase names, to change dates, to invent accidents. And for 200 years, the world believed the family simply vanished. But the truth was buried beneath the palace chapel. Not in a coffin. In a jar. A clay jar filled with finger bones. 9 rings. 1 for each victim. The smallest ring belonged to a child who never saw her 14th birthday. Today, the palace is a museum. Tourists walk through the same halls where children laughed and assassins waited. No one stops in front of the portrait. No one reads the plaque. And no one asks why the young girl in the painting is holding a flower that blooms only in winter. The bloodline was murdered twice. But the third murder belongs to silence. And silence is the most patient executioner of all.